So Clearwater Adventure Camps is based out of Islamorada, Florida. Islamorada is just a super cool part of the world. It's one of the fishiest places on the planet. It's what's known as the Middle Keys. It's about 60 miles south of Miami, about 50 miles north of Key West, so right smack in the middle. But it's really well known for two things. It's offshore fishing. You know, it's the Keys, which separate the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. So you can get offshore really quickly and fish for pelagic species like tuna and mahi-mahi, that kind of stuff. And then also the backcountry in the Everglades is very accessible. And so each of our camps provides the opportunity for the boys to go both offshore and inshore. And I'm going to go ahead and jump into one of our galleries on the website. The website is clearwateradventuresusa.com. And so you'll see in these pictures the backcountry fishing and the offshore fishing. This particular picture is a young man who caught a really nice baby tarpon. That's on the inside. You can see the water's extremely flat. He's fishing in probably water that's less than knee deep back in the Everglades. In the glades, you'll catch snook and redfish and tarpon. Now, this is a picture from our offshore trip. So every week, our boys go offshore twice. They fish with a guy named Brian Cohn on Contagious Charters, and he's literally one of the best offshore guides, specifically for mahi-mahi in the Florida Keys. He wins lots of tournaments. He loves kids, loves teaching, got a great boat. So as you'll see in this picture, there's 6 boys, and that's the size of our camp on a weekly basis. So it's very high touch, very highly personalized, lots of coaching, lots of teaching, and very safe because we have a 2 camper to 1 instructor ratio. So we have a camp director and then 2 additional instructors for every week. And again, we keep it really tight, only 6 boys. So they get to go offshore twice. Again, they get to go backcountry twice. And then the 5th day is kind of a flex day, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But these are some pictures from an offshore trip. You can see several mahi-mahi and several blackfin tuna. Here's one of our younger campers who's got a bonefish. This picture is from the back deck of the house. We don't own a house, but we lease the same house every year. It's a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. It actually connects by canal to the back bay. The boys can actually fish off the back dock, and they do, and they catch little baby sharks, lots of little mangrove snapper. They'll catch barracuda, and every once in a while we'll have a couple manatees come in there to get a drink of water. But a beautiful setting. We have kayaks for the boys to take out in the evenings. Everything is supervised, but again, you can see this gorgeous sunset here in Islamorada. Picture of one of our guys with a shark. Another haul of mahi-mahi. There's a nice barracuda that was caught right off the back deck. Couple pictures from inshore. This is more representative of what happens when you do in the backcountry. Again, we catch snook and redfish. It's a combination of spin casting, but our guides also and camp directors begin to teach the boys how to fly fish. If they already know how to fly fish, they're welcome to do it. But if they want to learn, they're welcome to as well. And if they just want to catch unconventional, they can do that too. Beautiful snook there. In the backcountry, we fished two of the boys with 1 guide. Another beautiful, well, that's a sunrise pic. Oh, let's talk about the meals. So every day we we eat breakfast and dinners at the lodge. And generally, because we're catching such great fish, the boys are going to eat, fish twice a week, one grilled, one fried. Then we do pizza night the first night. We do a spaghetti night, and then we'll do burgers as well. Lunches or sandwiches, as you can imagine, and breakfasts are generally, eggs and bacon and biscuits or pancakes, kind of that kind of stuff. But hearty food, and we do keep snacks around for the boys because they're all bottomless pits, as we know. Um, lots of water. We don't have a whole lot of soft drinks. We don't allow them to have soft drinks. We'll do iced tea or lemonade. But the food's great. The boys cook, the instructors cook, and they do a great job. And again, when you have fresh tuna or fresh mahi, it's pretty hard to mess that kind of stuff up. So as I said, we have 2 days offshore and then 2 days in the backcountry, and then what we call a flex day. And the flex day means that we'll do a number of things on flex day. The last week of camp, and I'll go over the dates here in a second, is lobster season. So we go lobstering. Middle of the summer is more of your snapper and grouper season. So we'll be deep dropping to the reefs for snapper and grouper. And then every once in a while, we'll go on a shark fishing trip, and the boys love that. And you can see this guy's hooked up with a shark, more inshore. Here's a nice representation of a reef trip out, and the boys have caught some really nice red snapper. As I finish up the rest of these images, I mean, you can see that the key takeaway here is lots of grins, lots of big smiles. Our boys really enjoy themselves. It's a phenomenal week, and many of them come back year after year after year. Jeremy, you with us?
Can you hear me?
Barely, but yeah, we got you.
I'm trying to figure out how to make this thing work. Hang on. I've actually never done one of these before.
Well, that's because you're a fishing guide. So we have a few people on with us, and I had just basically gone through. I've gone through. Oh, there he is. There's your bright, shiny face.
You can see me.
Yeah, I've been showing a lot of the gallery pictures. We've talked about meals. We've talked about what they'll be doing over the 5 days. Maybe you can give us kind of a little picture of what an actual day entails. Like what is a day at camp?
Yeah, so a day at camp, generally we start off pretty early every morning. So the kids are going to have some sort of activity, usually a fishing related activity in the morning. So we would get the kids up usually around like 6 o'clock in the morning, feed them breakfast, get them energized for the day, and then we kind of kick off our activity for the morning. So generally they're going to either go out. We got our 2 big trips, the offshore trips with Brian Cohn, and then the backcountry trips with me. So the kids are kind of going one way or the other. Then we have some kayak trips, some other trips that are kind of mixed in. So that kind of takes up a big portion of our morning after breakfast, and then some of those activities go into the afternoon. Depending on what trip they're on. If they're with me, we usually fish till late in the afternoon, and then same thing with Brian. So that usually takes up a good portion of the morning. So most of the mornings are going to be some sort of fishing trip, a kayak trip, an offshore trip, a backcountry trip of some sort. And then they get back. We have a little rest period. We feed them lunch, or they take lunch on the boat, depending on where they went. And then we have a little rest period in the afternoon because generally they're pretty tired after being out in the hot sun all morning. It's pretty hot in the Keys in the summer. And then after that, we have a lot of other activities we kind of do in the afternoon. It just kind of depends on the day. We kind of vary it from week to week. Kind of depends on what the kids want to do too. We kind of ask them at the beginning of the week. But we got a lot of different activities we do, from knot tying to cast netting to target casting. So we get hula hoops and put them out in the water behind the house, and do that. And then we get all the kids kind of casting in them, just making sure that they can make an accurate cast, because it's pretty important when they're fishing, especially in the backcountry with me. Then we have some fly tying, and we do just a bunch of variety of activities in the afternoon, and usually stuff that's indoors, because their kids are usually beat by the afternoon, so they want us to get out of the sun a little bit. And then and sometimes we'll do some dock fishing and stuff like that too, off the dock right behind the house. We got some pretty good fishing there off the dock of the house, and that usually takes us into kind of the evening. And then on the evening, we have our staff prepare the meal, which is some kind of depends on the day of the week. But generally, after they do the offshore trips, we have a lot of fresh fish that we cook in the afternoons. So the kids really enjoy that. But yeah, we have some sort of home cooked meal every evening, and that usually goes into like 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. And then after that, we'll watch like a fishing video before it's lights out, and then we'll do that for the last part of the day, and then the kids are usually pretty tired and ready to go to bed, and then we kind of start all over the next morning. And every morning is generally some kind of fishing activity, which starts really early, so the kids are generally pretty wore out by the end of the week. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of a typical day. I mean, the days kind of vary depending on the activities that whatever we got going on during the week.
So Jeremy, I was going to show the dates for the camp schedules, but walk us through the week. Arrive on Sundays, correct? Sundays are arrival days?
Yeah, and I've had that question a lot, actually. I've had a bunch of parents reach out to me recently. Yeah, our arrival dates, a lot of people think it's Saturday. It's Sunday to Saturday. I don't know. I guess people just get confused by looking at our dates. But yeah, our arrivals are all in the afternoon on Sundays. So the kids, they usually arrive in Fort Lauderdale sometime around 2 to 4 o'clock, usually on Sunday afternoon. And then we take them to the house, kind of give them just a rundown or orientation that day. There's not a whole lot of activities that day. We'll do maybe some dock fishing and stuff like that. And that's our pizza night too. So we do pizza every Sunday. Kind of a camp tradition. But anyways, and so yeah, that's our arrival date. And then all the activities take place Monday through Friday. So they kick off usually first thing Monday morning, and then we're going pretty hard all week long. And then on Saturday morning is generally when we depart, and we try to schedule our flights where all the kids are taking off sometime between like 12 and 2 o'clock, or 12 to 2, 3, 4 o'clock. And then we shuttle all of them to the airport at the same time, and when we kind of work with the parents to try to get them all on the same or similar flights. I mean, it just kind of depends on where they're going. We got kids going all over the place. Sometimes it's not as easy to do, but generally we try to get them all out and in around the same time.
So, 8 weeks this year?
Yes, yeah. That's the plan for this summer. Yeah, we were planning on doing 8 weeks this past summer, but that didn't happen because of all the stuff going on. But yeah, we want a full camp schedule this summer. We're planning on doing 8 weeks. All of our weeks are fairly the same. I think the only thing we're doing different this year is our last week is going to be it's during mini season, so it's going to be our lobster week. And that week, the kids are going to get to do some lobster in that week. We've kicked around the idea. I've actually had quite a few campers from past years that they want me to do a fly fishing camp, and I've been kicking around the idea. I'm not completely committed yet, but I think I might do 1 week of just fly fishing too. Just kind of depends on how everything shakes out, but I'd like to try to do that again this summer. We've done it in the past, and it was pretty popular. But I'd like to try to bring that back again this summer. At least do 1 week of that as well, where the focus is all fly fishing, where they're doing a lot of fly casting, a lot of fly tying, and then more backcountry fishing than we normally do in a typical week.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about the who you have kind of signed up to help out in terms of instructors for next summer? I know a lot of it's still up in the air with COVID and whatever, but I mean, who do you think's helping this year?
As far as our leaders, is that what you're asking about?
Yeah.
So I haven't spoke to any of them recently. I mean, we have pretty good leaders, but generally, I mean, most of them come back. Just depends on their college obligations more than anything. So like all of our leaders are past campers that have been through our camps for most of them a lot of years. And but they're all in college. They're college age kids, and they have a lot of stuff going on. So I usually try to talk to them a little bit later in the usually sometime around like the first of the year, the first few months of the year, to kind of get a gauge for their what they got going on this summer and their commitments, and then go from there. We have actually I've had quite a few campers that are getting older that have been coming to camp for a while that all want to come help out. So I mean I got a pretty big list of kids to kind of to go through, and that I'm going to kind of vet and see who I'm going to get preference to the kids we've had in the past. Like I'm not sure if Lawson's going to be coming back this summer, but I'd love to have Lawson back and John and kind of our core group. But like I said, it just kind of depends on their schedule more than anything. But I always give them first dibs, and then I'll start reaching out to some of the other kids that have been asking me that I know that will be a good hand and have been around our camps a lot and kind of know our program, and they'd all be really good fits. So I mean it's a pretty highly desirable position with our past campers. A lot of the kids want to come back and work for us after they've been coming to camp for a while.
What about the guides? Talk about the guides real quick, because you are really good friends and partners with some not only are you an outstanding, one of the best backcountry guides, but Brian Cohn and McCady. Who else?
Yeah, well, so me and Brian are kind of the main two guides that we use through the camp. So I'm kind of the backcountry fishing guide, and then Brian Cohn is our offshore guide. And Brian's been with us since the beginning. We get a lot of questions about like what captains we use, and I get a lot of questions from the parents on that end too. And he's really well known down there. He grew up in Alamorada, has been fishing down there his whole life. He's probably one of the best dolphin fishermen in all of the Keys. So the kids really love going out with him, and he's real knowledgeable, really good with kids. He's got a couple young kids of his own, and sometimes he'll bring his son along too, just kind of tag along. His son, I think, it's like 10 now or 9. But yeah, Brian's a good guy. He's a really good guy. He's been around for a while. I mean, he's been around our camp since the beginning, really, since the inception. And he's just really good with the kids. I mean, the kids like fishing with him, and he produces. I mean, like that's one of the things that they like is they've had some incredible trips. I mean, like tons and tons of fish generally, and he usually outfishes most of the other captains down there, so they always come back with a lot of fish and plenty of fish stories too. And then we get to eat the fish throughout the week too, which is kind of a nice bonus. And then I guess our other captains, we got Brian McCady is another kind of fan favorite. He does kind of a jack of all trades. He does a lot of different things. He'll take the kids out to do wreck and reef fishing. He'll fish the bridges. He's got some spots in the bay where he catches a lot of giant Goliath grouper. He catches sharks. He catches all kinds of stuff. He's just a really good guy. The kids really like Brian McCady a lot, and he kind of does a little bit of everything. And who else do we got? We got TJ.
TJ, Captain
Yeah,
TJ.
yeah, he's another one of our backcountry guys that we use a lot since the beginning too. He's really good friends with Brian, and I've known TJ for a long time down there. He's just a good guy, and the kids like fishing with him too. But he's kind of like Brian McCady, but he does both backcountry and offshore. So he's got boats to do both, and we used him a lot in the past, and the kids have had a lot of good trips with him. But on both sides, really, he's pretty unique in that standpoint. He can really do it all. I mean, there's nothing TJ can't do, really. From offshore to inshore to, everything really. I mean, we've used them for spearfishing and all kinds of other stuff, lobstering, and I mean, he's just real knowledgeable and been fishing down there his whole life. He grew up in the Miami area, so he's fished a lot around Biscayne Bay and down in the Keys too. So he's just a good captain and a good guy, and the kids really like him. I mean, that's one of the kind of the best selling points of our camp is we got some of the best captains down there in Alamorada, and the kids all really enjoy fishing with them all, and they all catch plenty of fish and have a lot of fun.
So, Jeremy, what about transportation? Explain how you get the kids to and from camp.
Yeah, so I generally pick them up from the airport. We try to schedule their flights all around the same time. So like we're not waiting around. And I usually work with the parents prior to camp. Whenever I always tell all the parents to kind of reach out to me and let me know what flights they're looking at, because usually by that point when they start looking at flights, we've already got our roster filled for the week, and we already know where everybody's coming from. And a lot of times we got a lot of kids coming from the same cities, or their layovers are going to be in the same city, so we can get them on the same flights into Fort Lauderdale, and they're all arriving there either at the same time or around the same time. So there's not a whole lot of waiting, and I generally go to the airport and shuttle them back to our house. And we do all our pickups out of Fort Lauderdale. We've had a lot of parents asking about Miami. Miami's kind of a nightmare to get in and out of. That airport's just a lot more busy and a lot more hectic. It's just way easier getting in and out of Fort Lauderdale. And Fort Lauderdale's got a lot of flights, direct flights from all over the place too. So it's a fairly easy airport for us to use. We just prefer that one over Miami for sure. But yeah, so I generally do the shuttles from the airport to our lodge there in Alamorada. And it's about an hour 30 to an hour 45 minutes, depending on traffic, from the airport to our house. And then I on Sunday or Saturday, whenever we do our departures, I usually drop them off. But a lot of times this happened quite a bit this past summer, but it's happened a lot in years past. And a lot of times parents kind of make a vacation out of it, and they come down and bring and spend the week down there, just vacationing while the kids at camp. So a lot of times there is the option to drop your kid off at our house and pick them up too as well. And we've had quite a bit of that in the past too.
Cool. So anyone got any questions for Jeremy? Jeremy, how was the fishing today?
It was actually really good. I had my client from California. It was the last of a 4-day trip, last day of a 4-day trip, and we had a pretty good day. Today was our best day of the 4 days. So we had a lot of schools of fish and got quite a few redfish on fly today.
Sweet.
Anybody
out there in Zoom have a question for myself or Jeremy? Not getting much. Jeremy, how do people get in touch with you if they want to ask more questions or reserve a spot for one of their boys?
Yeah, they can call me on my cell number, 281-546-1393. I get a lot of parents who just have questions and they want to reach out to me. I'm free most evenings. I'm going to be on the water every day for the next few months, but so usually in the evenings is a good time to reach me if you want to get a hold of me and on the phone, or you can send me an email. My email address is jeremy@clearwateradventuresusa.com. And I'll usually get back to you within 24 hours on there. And that's probably a little bit easier way to get a hold of me right now. I'm just super busy and don't have a lot of downtime right now.
Well, man, I know you've been blowing and going, so thanks for pulling over and spending a few minutes with us. And thanks for joining us, everybody. I really appreciate it. And again, if you have any questions, you've got Jeremy's contact info, and you can always reach out to me at Backwoods as well.
And also, and our website too. I forgot to mention, you can reach out to us on the website too, clearwateradventuresusa.com.
Yeah, I've had that up on the screen, so I think they've got it, and Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah. Any method, I'll get back to you pretty soon on it, regardless of whatever way you reach out to me.
All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, speak now or hold your peace. Otherwise, we are gonna let everybody get back to their Thursday evening. All right. Thanks, Jeremy. See ya.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Later.
Congrats on your first Zoom call.
I feel left out.